Guys, a lot of people are praising the Seahawks draft class. Praise had not been something we were used to heaping on the Seahawks front office really until this past year when they decisively won the Russell Wilson trade. Connor, I know you're part of the chorus praising this 10-man class, pretty big class for the Seahawks. Just why do you think they came out of this weekend so well?
Yeah, Pat, I try not to give out a lot of A-plus grades because the reality is a lot of these guys just aren't going to make it, or they might just be starters. But the Seahawks went above and beyond. I mean, you start with the obvious in the first round quickly here. Devin Witherspoon, I think he could be the best defensive player to come out of this draft. That's how talented he is at cornerback, whether it's finding the football, playing man, playing zone, click and close. Jackson Smith-Njigba is a tailor-made number 3 slot for them, playing with Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. He's a great possession wide receiver that can make tough catches over the middle of the field. But what they did after those 2 picks, because anybody can make 2 picks in the top 20. That's not the hard part of the NFL draft. You get Derek Hall in the top 40, all speed to power on the edge coming out of Auburn. Zach Charbonnet, the running back out of UCLA, that's a good pass catcher, good pass protector, and a tough in-between-the-tackles runner. Him and Kenneth Walker are going to be a phenomenal 1-2 punch. Anthony Bradford, I thought he was one of the best mauling guards in the entire draft. His pass pro needs some work, but Seattle showed with the 2 tackles they took last year that the O-line coaching there is in a really, really good place, that I have faith in that. And they doubled down on O-line with the interior, getting Oluwatimi from Michigan, one of the smartest offensive linemen in the entire draft, battle-tested. I think he started for many, many years, maybe up to 5 years in college. Really, really good player. And then you kind of round this thing out. They got even more help on the defensive front, whether it was Cameron Young, a tough defensive tackle out of Mississippi State that can help against the run. We know half of their defensive line are currently free agents right now. And Mike Morris, a gigantic stand-up edge rusher from Michigan. So Seattle, they could easily hit on 5 picks in this draft, which is truly absurd.
So just real quick on JSN. I mean, the Seahawks might not have been near the top of the list for receiver needy teams in this draft, but I just thought it was so great with Tyler Lockett. He's aging. He's still playing extremely well. But Tyler Lockett's aging. The number 3 receiver spot was essentially vacant in Seattle last year. And even if you have 2 really, really good receivers, you can't just have no number 3 receiver. So maybe from a fantasy perspective, we wanted to see JSN land somewhere we could command bigger target counts right off the bat. But I think for the long run, it's a really, really good spot for JSN. And Kyle, we love the Seahawks class, but I know that not everyone loves every pick in the Seahawks class. There's one in particular that was kind of ruffling some feathers.
Yeah, overall, I think I like the Seahawks class. I think it is really smart when teams are, well, one, they're valuing the wide receiver position, a position that continues to grow in importance very highly. And you could have totally told yourself that JSN, we have this duo, we don't need him. It's almost table stakes at this point where you're looking at the best teams and their elite passing, and the best way to improve is to keep trying to up your efficiency and your ability to beat teams. Going 3 deep at receiver, perfect. I think the Zach Charbonnet pick is, and I love Charbonnet. He's my running back 3, and it wasn't really close. There was a tier after that. It's just they're playing with their food a little bit, right? They had a good start to the draft. You've got Kenneth Walker, and then they followed up later and take Kenny McIntosh, who's just going to be a pass catcher. He's probably just a Travis Homer type, right? But did you need another running back? Did you need to spend so much? Charbonnet's great, and he'll be a good compliment because he can catch passes and pass block better than Kenneth Walker. But couldn't we have waited a little bit to make this pick? Connor, am I crazy? Or I guess the problem is there's not another Charbonnet in this class, but did they need a Charbonnet in the first place?
Man,
I like the draft too. I'm not trying to pour cold water on it, but
the man loves to run the football, and maybe they just had some fear when Kenneth Walker dealt with that injury all summer last year and was starting late out of the gate, if what their offense looks like without him, right? Now that Rashad Penny's gone and they've seen their offense without Kenneth Walker, they're looking at it and going, we need another guy that can be that 1A type running back. Now, when you do that at 52, yeah, some would call it a luxury, but Seattle's feeling themselves with all those extra picks from the Russell Wilson trade.
So, Kyle, another team that we're not used to praising lately, the Colts, we had kind of really been starting to question Chris Ballard and his leadership, definitely the ownership and their leadership of that team. But another team that kind of like the Seahawks have been rallying in public perception. Why do you think the Colts had such a good draft?
Yeah, I mean, the reason we had been, ragging on the Colts for a while is they were just taking half measure after half measure after half measure at quarterback. And I say that 3 times because I'm thinking Rivers, maybe the fullest of the measures for a single year, then Wentz and Ryan, far less than half measures, frankly. And I don't know if Anthony Richardson is going to work out. He's got progress to be made. But they are attempting to do what successful teams do, is you take a young quarterback and you attempt to build him into the face of the franchise. You don't go out and second and conditional third or whatever and try and bridge yourself to 10-7 for the next year, right? They made the smart choice, even if it's a boom or bust choice, it's a risky choice. They maximized their value and they took the quarterback who was like a Derrick Henry level athlete, not an exaggeration. Like he is that level of an athlete with a cannon for an arm. And I think he does some things well. Like you look at him, he throws the ball away when he should. He does well under pressure, right? It's just a lot of these short to intermediate throws he needs to clean up on. And I think they have the coaching staff now in place to help him do that. I'm not sure what his floor is. It's probably pretty low, but they went for ceiling. And I think that's how most teams should be viewing it. You have to week in and week out face off against Patrick Mahomes, like Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts. Showing up with the next Carson Wentz to Matt Ryan ain't going to cut it. So I think they ultimately did what smart teams do, and they went for broke.
Yeah, I think Anthony Richardson may be the single most important pick of the draft, and that's not to say it's without risk. There's a strong chance, decent chance, that he doesn't even get a second contract with the Colts. He's a volatile prospect, but volatility also means just crazy upside. And Anthony Richardson, he could end up being the story of the 2023 draft when, like 15 years, you go back and read the 2023 draft Wikipedia.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and Rotoworld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from Rotoworld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.